Hi everyone, happy Friday. We're here from the Apartment Association. I'm Rachel with Court Furniture, and today we're here with our member spotlight, Rick Holste from Chadwell Supply. Rick, if you want to go ahead and tell us about your position at Chadwell and a little bit about the company, we would love to hear about it.
I am a territory salesperson with Chadwell Supply. The company, it's been evolving over the years. They actually started in 1975. Three brothers got together. They started in the home building business. They evolved into selling to the multifamily business throughout the years. The home builder situation, you know how that all went down. The company's been sold. They decided they had a couple of old employees that wanted to get back into the business, and they were kind of talking to them, and they decided to reopen it up in 2007. So Chadwell Supply has been around. Prior to that, people may know it as Chad Supply.
Okay.
But it's Chadwell Supply, 2007. They're based out of Tampa, Florida. We're in 12 states right now. We're growing. We're not going to stop growing. You know, our goal is to be a national company again. So that's kind of the premise of Chadwell Supply.
Awesome. And how did you get into the property management side of this business?
Okay, so it was by accident. I had a buddy of mine who was working at the colony of Springdale back in the late 70s, and he was their groundsman out there. So they needed a maintenance supervisor, or a maintenance man, I should say, then. So in 1980, I was never in the apartment industry at all. He said, well, you're good mechanically. I said, okay, great. So I go check it out. They hire me. So I started there in 1982, became the maintenance supervisor, went into sales in 1985. There was an old company called Columbus Parts. I know some people out here may or may not know that, remember that name. So I worked for them for a little over a year and a half. There was another company called Pure Angeli at the time. I worked with them since till 1990, and then I kind of went into this segment of my working career and I know this is long-winded, but they got to sit and listen. So we're here. So in 1990, it was we started a company called Maintenance Headquarters. In 1994, we changed the name to Nationwide. 1997, we merged with Century Supply. We stayed with Century until 2003. Hughes came in and purchased Century in 2003. 2006, Home Depot Supply. Home Depot came in and bought Hughes. We changed our name in 2008 to HD Supply. We became public in the same year. They went away. We were held by private investors till 2012. 2012, we went public, and I worked for them for 27 years.
Wow.
They did away with my level of management. I was fortunate enough to be picked up by Rug. I'll always be thankful with Bill Schwab. He gave me a chance to get back and stay in the industry.
Great.
I worked with those guys. Chadwell Supply was tipping their toes in and out of Cincinnati for a few years, and then we just started talking one day, and then the next thing you know, I'm with these guys. Gave up the flooring and went back into parts and pieces. And it's really my background, you know.
Great.
And I've been here for 2.5 months.
Wonderful.
So 39 years later, here I am.
That's great. I was going to ask, for those of us that can't do the math, how long has it been in the industry for you? So
quite a while.
Yeah, I'm sure you have some stories to tell. So along with all that experience, do you have any advice or any certain perspective you can give some people that are just trying to get into this industry?
You know, what I would say to the folks that are starting out and they're new to this industry is be true to yourself, and don't try to be something that you're not. Work for your company as hard as you can. Get to know the industry. You know, learn as much as you can about what you have to offer, and then develop off of that and be sincere and work hard. You know, stay true to yourself. But the industry is a great industry. I mean, you can make so many connections. You can build so many friendships over the years in different avenues of what we have to offer. From, you know, you have everything that you can possibly think of on the associate side, that you can kind of intertwine yourself with these folks, and it's a great networking event. And then you go to the primary side, it's just unbelievable. It's everlasting. So I would say just be honest, be willing to learn, step up. If you're going to volunteer, follow through. Don't get on a committee and just sit on it. Be involved.
I couldn't agree more. I think that is fantastic advice. Very accurate. And we're going to move on to the personal side of things and get to know Rick a
Giddy
little
up.
bit better. Yeah.
Like it.
So we'll start easy. Can you tell us about the last book that you read?
The last book that I read, I always have a brainstorm on that, or a brain spasm on that. It's John Grisham's, and I want to say it's The Reckoning. I read a lot of books. I read John Grisham, I read David Badachi. I like reading a little bit of American history. So there's a lot of books that I like to read. So not necessarily the Chadwell catalog, but I do read that too.
I think we should all find some time to look through that as well.
Yes,
So,
I agree with you.
aside from reading, what are some of your other favorite pastimes or hobbies?
Well, I know this sounds odd, but my biggest pastime is my family. I like enjoying time playing with my family, but I love car racing. I like riding my bike. One of the things that I started with my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's 6, going to be 7 this year. His father, when he was young, his father used to build model cars with his grandpa. So I started to do that with my grandson.
Wow.
And it is so much fun. It is.
Wow.
He gets so excited. I'll kind of put the parts and pieces together, and then, we're do the big pieces together, and he'll want to paint, and it is so exciting to sit there with him to do that.
Yeah, those are great memories for
Yes,
both
they
of
are.
you too.
Yes, they are.
What about some favorite foods or a favorite restaurant around town?
Okay, my favorite food is pizza.
Easy.
I don't know who doesn't like pizza. I'm
Right.
sure there's some people out there that don't like pizza, but I do, as you can tell. And my favorite pizza parlor is Two Cities in Mason, Ohio.
Ah.
I live in Mason,
Okay.
so a little, shout out for those guys. They do a New York style and a Chicago style pizza, and it's not a true Chicago style pizza. The crust is a little bit flakier. It's not quite as thick. It is delicious.
So is that the best one there?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
And now, if you go to Michigan, you got to eat at Buddy's Pizza up there, because you see Jets is described as a Detroit style pizza. That's about as close as you can get to Buddy's. But if you're ever in Michigan or Detroit, Michigan, hunt out a Buddy's Pizza. That is superior.
That is great advice.
And now I'm hungry.
Sure. Yeah, I think we'll all be having pizza after this interview today. And what about your pets? Do you have any pets at home?
Yep, I got a cat. He's a big old fat 18-year-old tabby,
Oh, wow.
tabby cat. That cat sleeps more than anybody I know. If there was an award you can give for a sleeping cat, it's that cat. He likes to eat and sleep. And if anybody comes into the house, he'll growl. I mean, a cat growls. So he just doesn't like people.
He probably is set in his ways at 18 years old.
He's definitely set in his ways. He's a big old boy.
Oh, and do you have any time to catch up on TV or movies? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV. I like This Is Us. That's a good one to watch on the TV side. But two of my favorite movies are Shawshank Redemption. I don't know what it is. That movie's kind of captured me, and I like watching that one. And for just a little bit of idiocy is my cousin Vinny.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that show. It's just kind of, I think back to when they're in a courtroom and the judge is talking about them, and he's calling the kids Utes, Utes, and it's just a good movie to watch.
Yeah, those are both movies you can watch anytime they come on.
When you need a moment in life to just say, I need to de-stress, I need to just relax.
Yes.
Plug it in.
And what about a favorite sports team?
I am the Ohio State Buckeyes' favorite fan, or at least one of them.
Wow.
I like the Bengals. I like the Reds. In the 70s, I used to be a huge Cincinnati Reds fan.
Okay.
We'd go to the games constantly. I knew where every crack was as you're walking up to get to your seats. It was so much fun to go to the Reds game. And then the strike came in '90. I kind of lost my flair of being a fan for baseball in general. And I know that's not fair, but it's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And I really, the Ohio State Buckeyes, I've gravitated to them. I've been with them for a very long time. I thoroughly enjoy watching them. So for any Michigan fans out there, I'm sorry. Giddy up.
There's one sitting here. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Giddy up.
Moving right along.
It's that line. It's that dotted line.
Moving on to concerts. Can you tell us about the best concert that you ever attended?
I've been to a lot of concerts over my years. And Zach Brown last summer came to Great American Ballpark. And I was a little apprehensive about going to that concert. Because, when you go to a stadium that big, the sound system and everything, you just wonder how could a concert in here sound? It was phenomenal. Absolutely one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Wow.
The seating was comfortable. I'm not a fan that likes to go stand down there and
Right.
be in the crowd. I'm just really too old for that. These old bones need to sit and relax a little bit. So that concert, though, you could hear the music was crisp. The sounds were beautiful.
Huh.
I would go to another concert there any day of the week.
Interesting. Cool. Now, I did pre-read your answer to this question.
Oh, no.
So I'm intrigued to ask in person. If you
Oh.
were an animal, what would you be?
I'd be an aardvark.
Okay, and
So you're going to have to skip down.
right, so we'll skip down to the random fact about you so we can find out why
Okay.
you would be an aardvark.
All right. So my daughter, she works for the Cincinnati Zoo. And I am so proud of what she does there
Mm-hmm.
because her passion for animals is just beyond belief. She told me once, she said, "Dad, I just want you to know I'm not having kids, I'm having goats." I said, I can deal with that. So I guess the winter of 2017, I don't know if everybody heard of Wenzel, the aardvark.
Mm-hmm.
Wenzel was born
Yeah.
on the winter solstice, or whatever the word is. And his name derived from winter solace, Winsol.
Sure.
So when he was born, the Cincinnati Zoo never really did have a successful birth rate with aardvarks
Mm-hmm.
because they're not a real nurturing animal towards their babies. I mean, sometimes they get stompled and they just don't make it. I know it sounds terrible, but
Mhm.
it's an animal. It's a wild animal.
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter researched aardvarks and how to give a good birth for aardvarks, a successful birth.
Mhm.
And she wrote a paper on it. And since she gave it to the Cincinnati Zoo, they liked it. It got published. She had to even go out to California and do a I don't know what they were doing, a presentation on it one
Oh,
time.
wow.
I don't know what it was all about, but it was great. So I became the unofficial grandpa of Wenzel, the aardvark.
That's so
And
cool.
and I went down there, I visited him, my daughter gave me behind the scenes, and
Oh my gosh.
I got pictures of me lying there with him, and we're marching, and we're just having a good time.
That's
And they're very passive type animals, they're not real aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I'll show him a little nurturing and what
Yeah.
grandpas do.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to visit him a lot this past year. Now, he just left Cincinnati. He's at the
Oh.
Nashville Zoo,
Okay.
and he's going to be their ambassador, one of their ambassadors.
Oh, cool.
Because you'll see some of these animals that go through the parks,
Mhm.
like the penguins here in Cincinnati and whatnot. He'll be doing that, and he'll be just an active role of the
Yeah.
Nashville Zoo. So I have a trip planned this summer to go see my grand aardvark.
That is such a cool story.
And here's
I
an
love
interesting
that.
thing about aardvarks.
Yeah.
I love these animals. They're not a real soft, furry animal,
Mm-hmm.
but their noses,
Mm-hmm.
they're really soft and supple,
Mhm.
except for the center part is a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody knows me, I love animals. I used to have a lab, and I would always beep her nose, affectionately beep her nose. I'd walk up and beep the aardvark's nose. And I don't know, the aardvark, I don't know if he knew it or not, but he would always come over and just kind of stick his snout up, and I'd beep him and
Oh,
say, "How you
sure.
doing today?" And give him a
Yeah.
little pat on the head, and it was just so cool.
That's great. That is such a cool story. I too have a daughter that wants to be a zookeeper, so I feel
Nice.
personally
Very
connected to
good,
that story.
very good.
Speaking of our daughters, can you tell us a little bit more about your family?
Yes, I've been married to my wife for 28 years. I got a wonderful wife, I want to tell you, because I couldn't do what I've done in my career
Mm-hmm.
without a spouse that supported me, and she supported me unconditionally. I've done a lot of travel over the years, worked a lot of long hours to get to where we are as a company, and I just did it, and I think she kind of accepted that and knew it. She stayed home, she took care of the kids, she raised both my kids. Kevin, he's my stepson, but I've been in his life since he was 3 months old.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, he's my son.
Mm-hmm.
He's 31 years old. He's married to Carrie. They have 2 kids. Kevin has a child, my grandson, from a prior marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's Liam. And then they have Remy, who's their child together. He's 14 months old. So Liam's 6, going to be 7
Mhm.
on tax day. April 15th is his birthday.
Aw.
Then you've got Remy, who's 14 months. He's just starting to walk. He is something else. He is just they're both the love of my life. And the best part is she's pregnant again.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
she's due in July,
Wow.
and I know their life's going to be a little chaotic, but you know, I'm there to support them, so that's great.
Yeah.
My daughter, again, she has a living boyfriend, they've been together for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when the marriage thing's gonna happen, but you know, if it does, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I just want her happy, and
Yep.
she is. Working at the Cincinnati Zoo, she is just, that's her life,
Mhm.
and that's what she does. She's done a lot of time, put in a lot of time to get there.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, you have to go and really donate a lot of time at these rescues and all these other stuff to earn your stripes. The zoo just doesn't hire you just to say, oh great, come on in, we're gonna take you. So she's done an internship down there, and she does a phenomenal job. So, you know, my family is big, and anybody that knows Rick Holste knows family is number one, paramount. Work is right there with it,
Mm-hmm.
but my family's number one. And then I've got one sister and one brother,
Great.
and we still fight like cats and dogs like we're 3 years
Well,
old.
I can imagine your family gatherings are probably
Oh, we have a blast.
pretty fun.
We have a
Yeah.
blast, yes.
So, it sounds like you're an amazing husband and father and grandpa, and I'm sure we know here at the association an asset to us here and definitely to Chadwell Supply. So thank you, Rick, so much for spending some time with us today. Again, I'm Rachel Gill from Court Furniture. Thank you all for tuning in today. Our big trade show is coming up next week, and the 5K for rent is coming up soon too. For any information on that, check out our social media on Facebook and Instagram, and have a great Friday. Thanks, guys.